All right, we're live. Lisa, take it away.
Good afternoon, Midwinter Meeting exhibitors. This is Lisa Girardi with the Chicago Dental Society, and I really appreciate you all taking time out of your busy schedule today to log into this webinar. The reason we position this as a mandatory web briefing is because the Chicago Dental Society and Jefferson Davis with Competitive Edge, we're very interested in helping you make your experience at the Midwinter Meeting as successful as possible. You are extremely important to us, and we want you to continue to be successful and continue to participate in the Midwinter Meeting. As we go through the webinar, we do have on our website an ROI center. Currently it's located under the exhibitor information section, and there we have webinars for the past 2 years that are on demand that you can certainly participate in, as well as articles and workbooks that will help you. We do have another webinar scheduled for this coming January, but that is open to all exhibitors. So we hope that you please visit the Exhibitor ROI Center on the CDS website. Also, we do go ahead and we are providing an evaluation of your exhibit at the Midwinter Meeting. This is complimentary. You'll start receiving information from me on that as soon as next week. Like I said, you are very important to us. As you can see, surveys always indicate that attendees like to see new products and see new exhibitors. So we do identify you boldly at the Midwinter Meeting. On our digital floor plan online, you'll see that all first-time exhibitors are what we call flown to the top of the list. You're alphabetical, but then other exhibitors follow you alphabetically. So if you have not seen the attendee digital floor plan, we also host that on our website. And we do indicate first-time exhibitors in our mobile app just to draw attention, because we do know that your products are very important to our attendees, and we want to make them see that you are not going to be the same thing that they've seen from year to year. Again, we want to make you succeed. So if you ever have any questions, you can contact myself. As you see, this screen gives you my direct line and my email address, and my assistant, Nathan, can also help answer any general questions that you have. Please know you can email me, call me at any time. I always respond to my questions. So please, like Jefferson said, no question is silly. I want to introduce to you Jefferson Davis. Jefferson is our trade show expert of choice. He has created the Exhibitor ROI Center that is on our website, and he leads the E3 Exhibiting Effectiveness Evaluation Program that we offer complimentary to our exhibitors at the Midwinter Meeting. And so you will be able to meet him live, him and his staff, of course, live at the Midwinter Meeting in February. So please help me welcome Jefferson Davis.
All right. Thank you, Lisa. And again, thanks to everybody for being on this web briefing and for being a new exhibitor with Chicago Dental Society. Like most of you, I've exhibited at a lot of shows. And, you know, honestly, I always felt like the only time I heard from the show organizer was when they wanted a check, or they wanted to sell me something, or they were sending me that service kit, you know, with all that stuff that I had to do and I didn't want to do. But I knew I had to do most of it. So how cool is it to be partnering with an organization like CDS and one of the greatest exhibit managers out there who really cares so much about you and I as exhibitors to invest time and resources in not just renting us concrete and hoping that it works out for us, but guiding us on how to make it profitable. And so that's what this is all about. And glad to be here with you today. Cumulative 30 years in shows. I'm a student, I'm a practitioner, and I'm a consultant trainer, and I've been on the hunt for my entire career. How do you make trade shows deliver maximum value? And I'm excited to say, of all the work I've done with my companies and my clients, of those where we've done tracking, we've been able to generate over $750 million in real results from trade shows. And so whatever you're getting now from trade shows, whether you're thrilled or whether you're okay or whether you're not so happy, it's very possible that you're only picking the low-hanging fruit. And what you can get when you're looking at shows through the right frame and perspective and you're doing the right things can blow your mind. And that's really what we want to really get into today. And so, you know, the problem for a lot of us as exhibitors is we're caught in what I call the logistics trap. And what I mean by that is we spend 95% of our pre-show time on get the space, get the booth, get the graphics, get the products, get the people, get the literature, send it to McCormick Place, set it up, tear it down, send it home, and do all that on time and on budget. And often we go, that's pre-show planning. And I go, not really. That's dealing with logistics. Now, you have to do that. I get that, right? You've got to do that stuff. Otherwise, your booth, your people, your products are not going to show up. But here's the big idea. If you live in the logistics trap, it's only going to guarantee that you show up. It's not going to guarantee that you get anything from the big investment of both human and financial capital. So what I've discovered over these 30 years as an exhibitor and now 25 years consultant trainer is what we would call the critical success factors, the things that determine whether this ends up as an expensive appearance or a profitable investment. And here they are. Number one is outcomes. What you want to do here is begin with the end in mind. And the major question that every exhibitor listening to this webinar should ask and answer is this. When the doors close on the CDS Midwinter Meeting, 180 days after the meeting, how will we know we succeeded? In the areas of marketing, sales, customer relationship management. So we use a process to define our outcomes, the process we call exhibiting by objectives. And I'm going to walk you through that. And that's the first critical success factor is focus is power, clarity is power, knowing your outcomes is power. So we want to make sure that you are crystal clear about what your outcomes are. Number two, this is a big meeting. There are a lot of attendees. And the reality is not everybody that attends is your ideal customer or ideal visitor. So we got to figure out who are the right people for you, how much is enough, and what are you going to do between now and when you arrive at McCormick Place to be in their mind and on their agenda. That's how you win the game for kickoff. So the process of selective attraction is developing and executing a pre- and an at-show marketing program to get enough of the right people to your exhibit and your function. Okay, and so we're going to touch some of that today. And we also have replays up. As Lisa mentioned, the Exhibitor ROI Center is your 24/7, 365 free knowledge portal. You've got exhibiting questions. You're trying to figure out how to make this work. Go to that ROI Center, and there's content, there's webinars, there's articles, and there's the ability to ask the trade show experts, submit your questions. So number two, we got to figure out the selective attraction. Number three, manage the visitor experience. And this really comes down to your booth. Does it grab attention? The content, the messaging, the story it's telling. Is it easy to enter? Is it easy to navigate? And then how are you showing, telling, presenting, demonstrating your products, your services, and your booth staff? So managing the visitor experience is going to come down to your booth, your presentation, and your people. We've got to make sure that we're dealing with all three of those, because if we don't, right, we're going to struggle at trade shows. And number four, whatever orders you happen to write on the show floor is just the low-hanging fruit. It's low-hanging fruit. It's easy to pick. What you can get over time, if you are really managing leads properly, will blow your mind. So we got to make sure that we've got a good lead management process in play. And then number 5 is measurement and learning. There's an old saying, what gets measured gets done. I also believe what gets measured gets improved, and what gets measured gets you positive recognition, especially when you're improving the performance of the exhibit and you're letting your management team know so you can learn. You should be getting better and better at each show you do. You should never do the same show twice. What I mean by that is do the exact same thing you did at the last show. You should always be some element of your program should be getting better. So when you look at these 5 factors, here's the promise. If you do all 5 of these well, you'll succeed at every trade show you participate in. If you neglect or avoid any one or any combination of these factors, you're going to struggle. You're not going to get what you could and should be getting. And so that's what we want to guide you through in our new exhibitor onboarding program, to make sure we're putting the right content in front of you at the right time frames in the show execution cycle in an easy to consume and digest manner, so you can address all 5 factors. Because if you do, you will win at every show you do. Okay, so the new exhibitor onboarding program, this is a new program we launched this year because we know for most of you on this webinar, it's your first exposure to the CDS Midwinter Meeting. And so what we're going to do, you'll notice the dates and the topics. On each of these dates from Lisa, you will receive an email. I know you get a lot of emails, and I know the last thing that you want is another email, but I'm telling you, of all the emails you get, this is one of the ones that you should not only open, but you should get your team together and do these exercises. This is the same content that if you were hiring me and my team to come in and work with you, that you would pay over $10,000 for us to hold your hand through. Lisa's given it to you for free. Now, it doesn't get any easier than free, right? I mean, she's literally saying, here, I'm giving you access to a methodology that has generated over $750 million. So watch your email, number 1. When these things come in, download the exercise. It'll point you to the resources on the ROI Center that support the topic. And do these, if you do nothing else, do these 5 exercises. I'm telling you, you will win at the CDS Midwinter Meeting. Now, the other part of the program is there's tools. So it's not just content, but there's a exhibiting cost control tool, which you're going to be able to download and put all of your costs in and benchmark them. And there's practices on how to save money. And then you're going to have a 16-week planning tool. You know, a lot of you will fly to the show. You know, you'll, like me, you'll get on an airplane and you'll fly into Chicago. And one of the reasons you'll get to the show safely is because the pilot has a checklist. And that checklist is a tool that they use before they ever put that plane in the sky. They have very specific things they're doing. This 16-week planning tool that you're going to download is the same thing. It's going to flash for you on a week-by-week basis the logistical and the strategic stuff you need to be doing. So download and use that planning tool. It would take you tens, 20, hundreds of hours to create, free as part of your exhibitor onboarding program. The final piece tool is a exhibit and financial performance measurement tool. It's giving you some simple metrics so you can assess how effective did you execute your exhibit, and from a financial performance standpoint, where and how did you get value and ROI? So all this stuff is part of your new exhibitor onboarding program. And there's webinars, topical webinars. We're going to do the live one that Lisa mentioned on Secrets of World-Class Staffers, which is a staff training webinar. I would strongly suggest you and everybody on your team that's going to work your booth show up for that webinar. And then you can see the other ones on driving qualified traffic, improving your lead management, how to make your exhibit stand out from the crowd, and how to measure All of this content is there free for you because we want to help you succeed. And the other piece, as Lisa mentioned, I've got a team of trade show experts who will be at the meeting, and we're going to come up, and we won't interrupt you. We're not going to take any of your time at the show, but we're going to do a 21-point expert evaluation of your exhibit in action. We're going to look at the exhibit, your product or service presentation, your staff, and we're going to score it. I'm going to shoot photographs, and we're going to put comments in it, and we're going to point you. Basically, this report is going to say, hey, here's what's working. Keep doing this. This is working. Here's your blind spot. Here's an area where sometimes a little shift, just one little change, can make all the difference in a successful or a struggling exhibit. And if we see anything we think that you can change right now, like at the show, and you're open to that, we'll point it out to you. If not, a few days after the show, you'll receive your report, and you'll be able to quickly assess how well you did. And you'll also see comparative scoring. You'll see how you scored relative to your size and category. So this is a really cool onboarding program. You know, again, the commitment here is we don't want to just rent you concrete and throw you out there in the pit and hope it works out for you. We want to guide and direct and help you make it successful and profitable. And we'll do our part, okay? But you got to do your part. That means download the exercises, download the tools, do the stuff. Is it work? Yeah, it is work, no question. But tell you what, they don't teach trade shows in school. And what you'll gain through this will not only help you at this upcoming meeting, but will help you for the rest of your career. All of that courtesy of Lisa and the executive team at Chicago Dental Society. And many of you probably exhibit at other dental shows. And I think you know nobody else does this type of service for you. So there's a ton of value added to your exhibit package. So with that, Lisa, just give us a little high level, just a little more about the meeting and who attends and why they attend and anything we feel exhibitors need to know.
Certainly. The Midwinter Meeting is, well, it is ranked the third largest dental convention in the United States, only behind the Greater New York Meeting and the ADA Meeting, which travels around the country. Midwinter Meeting, being one of the first major meetings at the top of the year, has always been known in my 30 years here as the meeting where new products are unveiled, and it is considered a business meeting. So Midwinter can draw over 30,000 attendees annually. Truthfully, we do get the majority of our attendees from the Midwestern states because it's an easy distance to travel, but we do have representation. I got it this morning from our Director of Membership. We already have registrations from 42 states and 19 countries. So over 10,000 people have pre-registered since November 1. We have an extensive exhibit floor. We stagger our courses, so we give more time to the attendees to be on our exhibit floor. And we just try to put everything under one roof. Many of you, if you've not been to the McCormick West building, it's very easy to navigate in there. Registration is located right outside our exhibit floor. And so most of the attendees, we put things like the Coupon Rebate Redemption Center, which is a coupon that we give to the dentists. If they purchase something on the exhibit floor, post-show, we cut them a check for that amount because we're encouraging them to make orders from our exhibitors at the show itself. And so this way, we're trying to help you along those lines. Midwinter Meeting, we've been around for 152 years. As 2017 will be our 152nd meeting. You can certainly see by the next slide that Jefferson is showing you. These are our registration stats for the last 7 years. The 2009 meeting was the last meeting we held in what we call the old building by Lake Michigan. 2010 through 16 is in the West building where we currently reside. You'll see that we have dipped below 30,000 people for the last couple of years. Weather, economy, but we still have a strong attendance. You can see those are exact numbers. We do not fudge on our numbers as to who comes. We no longer, what our attendees want from the meeting, we want, they want to see what is relevant to their profession. This meeting is open to the dental profession and not the general public. We do not have blenders and ladders and face creams at this show. It is only dental products. And we want to do that because we want our attendees to know that this is a serious-minded meeting. We want our exhibitors to know this is a serious-minded meeting. And being at the time of year that we have, no one really wants to stay outside, so they stay at McCormick Place for the whole day, and they're able to view the products, and they spend a lot of time on our exhibit floor. So we want to make it as informative as possible. We ask that each of you download our mobile app once it's now currently available in iTunes and in Google Play. And we are adding to the mobile app each time. We're trying to make it interactive. Exhibitors are welcome to do so. So you are part of the attendee team. You're not just the people who are paying to help us put on one of the best trade shows in the country. How our attendees behave. They will take a look at the exhibitors that are listed in the preliminary program, and they will make a list of who they want to see. They'll go on to our online floor plan and create their own digital agenda, which can be carried over into the mobile app. I've heard a variety of different ways the attendees walk around the exhibit floor, but mostly they are looking for people who are new that they've never seen before, or they're looking to look at a new product that they heard of. I still believe dentistry is a touchy-feely type of profession where they want to go and have that face-to-face interaction where they could actually handle the product, see the product, sit in the product, as opposed to buying things virtually. So they don't like to be hassled when they're walking down the aisle. We see some people who will walk around the outer edges or not make eye contact. We're trying to educate our attendees as well, but we want to help you do things, so we're hoping that by participating in some of these things that we're offering you, you'll be able to have an engaging experience with the attendees where they're not just turning the blind eye to you because they're going to find their free tube of toothpaste. Not that that's a bad thing. So my suggestions for first-time exhibitors, I really encourage you to look at the service kit. I think that if you pre-order your services first, it is very important. You'll get discounts. All of our vendors offer discounts to exhibitors, and they have a timeline in which to do so. This year, for the first time, we are offering a booth package for first-time exhibitors. That information will be sent to you individually by me. The packages will be a basic package, which includes carpet, a table, 2 chairs, wastebasket, and electrical. For a small amount of money, $500 for that booth package. You just complete the application and return it to me, and we will provide those things for you, so it helps minimize the economic impact of what you're actually paying out to show. We also have pre-show marketing. We have what's called a virtual trade show booth or a trade show bag where you can have a spot for $350 where you can promote your products. That is emailed to every pre-registrant who is scheduled to come to the Midwinter meeting. It is also carried in our mobile app, so look for more information on that. We have pre-show mailing lists that we have. It is for the members of the society or from the dentists who participate in the society, and that is traditional mail if you want to go ahead and do an advertisement through mail. And then, of course, we have what I call the CDS ad pack, which is limited to 12 slots. $750, and we mail out to the registrants direct in our packaging that shows Midwinter Meeting promotionals, and it goes to all of the people who pre-registered for the Midwinter Meeting. We do 2 mailings, one in mid-January, and then we do a follow-up near the end of January to capture anybody who is pre-registering late. I suggest that you pay careful attention to deadlines and checklists. If you have any questions as you're reviewing the exhibitor information section of our website, please call me or email me. I will get back to you so that I can help answer any questions that you have. Another thing that we're introducing for the first time is we want you to understand the value of lead retrieval. If you buy a lead retrieval license from our registration company, it's $375. But for this year, the Chicago Dental Society is offering 1 lead retrieval license to every registered exhibiting company for free. That information will be sent to you where you can go ahead and complete an application so we know that you actually want to use this lead retrieval device. It's not a device, it's a license that you can download to your mobile device, your iPad or your cell phone, and then you'll be able to acquire leads from that. And that is free. You can certainly order additional licenses, but the first one is on us. If you have any questions, like I said again, email me, call me. I'm here to help you and assist in any question you have.
All right, Lisa, speaking of that, we do have a few questions in the queue. The first one was the mobile app. What's it called? What's the name?
It's Chicago Dental Society or Chicago Midwinter Meeting. We have it listed under a few different buzzwords. It's a white CDS.
Okay, and then is that available on iTunes?
iTunes and Google Play, they were just released yesterday.
Okay, just released, so it is available.
Free. They are free downloads, yes.
Free downloads available on iTunes.
And soon we will have on our website the direct links to both locations so that it'll take you directly to that part in Google and in iTunes.
Okay, excellent. I've got a question. Lisa, is the attendance count total amount of attendees and individual regs, or is it a combination of attendance at all 3 days?
That is the combination of all 3 days. Those are the final totals. The Director of Membership does do daily registration. She'll break it down for us internally, where she'll do everybody who pre-registered. She actually does it on a daily basis. But when it comes to show days, she'll show us the pre-reg numbers, and then she does it day 1, day 2, day 3. But the numbers that we have in that slide were cumulative for the 3 days of the meeting.
Okay, so that's
granted,
total,
the first 2 days are going to be the more heavily populated days.
Yes, okay. Let me see. Someone wanted to recap the information about cutting a check for purchases made at the show.
Oh, the Chicago Dental Society, since 1998, we have offered a rebate coupon to our members. Our members can only be dentists. It's based on when they pre-register, with the highest amount being the first month of registration, which is November. And any member dentist who pre-registers will get a rebate coupon with their badge and credentials. The onus is not on the exhibitor, the onus is on the dentist. They'll come to the meeting, they will make purchases on the exhibit floor. We have a rebate redemption center on the floor. The dentist then takes the coupon and a copy of the PO or receipt to that station. We validate it, and post-meeting we will send the dentist a check in the amount of money of that rebate. The idea is not to put any additional work on the exhibitor. The whole idea was to get the attendees to buy from the exhibitors. Jefferson, I'm losing you. My phone is acting up, so I do apologize. And Right now, I'm having difficulty with my phone, so I do apologize.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, I'm back.
I was my phone there for a minute.
Yeah, I have no idea what happened. So yeah, people were saying they couldn't hear me. The next question was, when was the pre-show attendee list available?
Pre-show attendee list is available now. You can go to our website and download the form. You'll have options. You can order the dentist attendees from the most previous past midwinter meeting, or you can request the list of the members. You don't want to request both because the midwinter meeting list will include those of the membership itself for those people who attend, and that would be duplicate, and you don't want to be paying for that. If you participate in the CDS ad pack, you will get the actual all registrants who are participating in the meeting. Our registration system is a little different. We mail all credentials to the office, or what we call the payor, so the dentist and his or her staff will get one envelope that have all of their credentials, so they will get the one pack. We typically send out about 15,000, so that's 15,000, not individuals, but individual payors that may have 5 to 20 people included in that registration pack.
Okay, let me see. Last question. I think that 2 of these are in my wheelhouse. Is the evaluation done before or after the show? It's actually done during the show. So we visit the exhibit in action, and we look at visually observable at-show practices. So we look at your exhibit from 11 angles. We look at how you're showing, telling, presenting your product or service from 5 angles. Then we look at your booth staff from 5 angles, and then we score it on that. And the other question was, will we have access to the slides today and the recording? Yeah, the webinar is being recorded and will be uploaded to the Exhibitor ROI Center. You can find the ROI Center on the official show website. There's also a URL in your workbook, which we sent you today. So that's all I'm seeing for questions now. Thanks, Lisa. I'm going to jump in the second half. We got much to cover in very short amount of time here. But thanks for the questions, everybody. That's how we get the most out of this. Okay, big things to avoid, mistakes, things that will cause you problems. Read the service kit. Almost every problem, every hassle, every headache, every cost overrun will probably come down to something that was in the service kit that you overlooked or didn't pay attention to. Read the kit. Okay, expectations. I'm going to walk you through how to manage, and set your goals and expectations in a moment. Sometimes we think, hey, I got a 10 by 10 booth. I'm going to roll into this show. I'm going to get 1,000 leads and 500 orders. And the numbers are going to tell the story, as you'll see in a moment. Failing to set goals. Everybody has reasons, but reasons are not enough. You've got to take the next step and convert them to a goal, and I'll talk about that in a moment. Number 4, big one. This is a big, big show, and your average dentist is not just walking and stumbling up and down every single aisle and just falling into booths at random. As Lisa mentioned, they're pre-planning their agenda. They're coming with a hit list of what they're looking for, who they want to see, what they want to learn, what questions they want to ask. So you've got to do something to pre-market your exhibit. Number 5, the overall look of your exhibit, design and layout is going to play a big role. Does it grab attention? Is it quickly evident what you do? Is it quickly evident who you are? Is there a value proposition? Is it saying something to the dentist or the assistant or the hygienist that's going to make them want to stop for a few minutes? So we got to look at that. Number 6 is your presentation. The number 1 way that dentists, assistants, and hygienists, and office managers for that matter, want to engage on the exhibit floor is through interactive presentations and demonstrations. So regardless of what you sell, you've got to give tremendous thought as to how do I present this in a way that gets attendees to immerse and interact with it. your booth staff. You can do all this stuff right. You can have goals, you can have a great booth, you can do a great pre-marketing job, you can have a great presentation, but if your staff, if you don't have enough, or you have too many, if they're looking and acting like they don't want to be there, if they're sitting down behind the table with a cell phone in one hand and a sandwich in the other, it's not going to work out. It'll all fall apart right there. So your booth staff is really going to make or break you. Number 8, do not take down your booth before the show closes. It's not only against show regulations and can cause you to not be invited back, but sometimes some of the best buyers are on the show floor late in the day and toward the end of the show. So, keep your booth open and staffed for every hour the exhibit hall is open. Number 9, remember, whatever you get is the low-hanging fruit. Whatever you can get over time with good lead management will blow your mind. So you got to make sure you're managing that. And number 10, as a new exhibitor in the show, be careful about how fast you judge the value of your participation. And we'll talk about that in a moment. So these are 10 mistakes that often haunt not just new exhibitors, but honestly all exhibitors. So let's jump into 10 keys here now. What do we got to think about and do to be positioned for success? Well, number 1, be crystal clear that trade shows are about face. And it's really going to come down to how well you put your company identity, your staff, and your products with enough of the right people to exchange information, learn a little bit about them and their practice. They learn a little bit about you and your company and products, and get an agreement or a commitment that something happens next. So key number 1, it's about face, and I could also say it's about next. Okay. Speaking of face, you do not have a infinite amount of capacity for face-to-face interaction. In fact, you have a very finite or limited. It's real important that you calculate your capacity. So do this with me right now. Grab a pen, grab a calculator. Okay, so the CDS Midwinter Meeting has 24 exhibiting hours. That is called your playing field. Okay, how many people are going to be in your booth on average over those 24 hours for the purpose of talking to dentists, hygienists, assistants, office managers? The rule of thumb is 50 square feet. So if you have a 10 by 10 booth, 2, maybe 3. Now, multiply those 2 numbers together and you have your staff hours. That is your capacity for face-to-face interaction. Okay? Next, multiply that number by a 3, 4, or 5. Not all of those, one of those. 3 is conservative. So what that means is you, me, or any one person standing in your booth will talk to 3 visitors on an average hour. Conservative. 4, moderate. 5 interactions per hour. Maybe aggressive. I want you to pick one of those numbers, and now you have your exhibit interaction capacity. This is where your results will come from. You see, Chicago Dental Society has almost 30,000 attendees. And the smart exhibitor doesn't really care if it has 29,000 or 22,000 or 15,000, because honestly, you can't handle that many. So the major question is, how much is enough? This formula gives you the answer to that question. Now it becomes, who are the right people, and what are you going to do before and at the show to make sure that you get face-to-face with enough of the right people? And by the way, you can set your lead goals, you can set your at-show sales goals, and you can set your post-show sales goals from this formula by working it a little farther down. Certain percentage of interactions will convert to at-show sale. Certain percentage will convert to lead. Certain percentage of leads will convert to post-show sales. Okay, number 2, know why you're exhibiting. I've said this multiple times. The top 4 reasons are on the screen. It's awareness, presence, visibility, branding, lead generation and sales, and new product introduction. Don't stop at reasons. Convert them to goals. Specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, time-bound, and then back up your goals with a written action plan. Okay, and part of your action plan is to read the Define Your Outcomes exercise and download that 16-week planning tool. That is your roadmap. That's your planning tool. Okay? Number 3, make sure you're investing enough resources into the opportunity. The budgeting rule of thumb is floor space times 3, minimally. So if you're in a 10 by 10 booth and the investment was $3,000 or whatever, then you would multiply it times 3 as a starting point. Now we've given you a tool, the Exhibit Cost Control tool, so you can quickly and easily manage your money, see where it's going, benchmark it by major spend area, and pick up tips on how to save money in all those areas. So make sure you download, use, and remember the budgeting rule of thumb. Number 4, we've talked about this in multiple ways. You've got to get in the mind and on the agenda of the right people. You can't just show up and hope that people find you. 3 out of 4 attendees are planning their visit. The average attendee will stop at about 26 to 31 booths. Half of those stops are pre-planned. So make sure that you're executing a targeted pre- and at-show marketing campaign. You've got an exercise in selective attraction, and we've also got the webinar, which will take you on a deep dive on this topic. Okay, the free marketing opportunities, we've mentioned these in other media, but you've got your company name and your listing in the online guide and the product locator. You've also in the official program and the exhibit hall guide. If you have press kits, bring them to the press office. Your complimentary digital booth, make sure you pay attention to that. And if you're using social media, which you should be, make sure to tie into and leverage the Midwinter's Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn accounts. Number 5, your exhibit has got to look professional and it's got to grab attention. The 3 questions in the mind of the visitor as they walk down the aisle is what, why, and who. You've got to make sure your exhibit visually and quickly answers what you do, why they should care, who you are. It's got to be easy to enter. Those of you new exhibitors in 10 by 10 booths who want to throw a table across the front of your booth and sit down behind the table, big mistake. Window shoppers don't buy. Smart retailers know you got to get them into the store. Same thing with trade shows. Make it easy to enter, make it easy to move around, make it easy to exit your booth, and we're back to that physical interaction with your products. They got to touch it, they got to feel it, they got to push buttons, and whatever you can do to get them physically, mentally involved. To make your exhibit more visible, some of the keys, number 1 is lighting. Fastest way to make a booth really pop is to light it up. Imagery, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Clear and informative messaging. Look at this one. Appointment gaps? Can't say it better than that. Right? Creative use of audio-visual, whether it's flat panels, touch screens, videos, projection, LED walls. It goes on, and a proactive booth staff, people that are looking and acting like they want it, that are standing up, smiling, and greeting people as they get near your booth. All of these things will help you get your booth seen because they can't process it if they don't see it. Number 6, your staff. Again, your people are going to make or break, so make sure you're putting effective people in the booth who are looking and acting like they want to be there, who are proactive, not just waiting for hoping people stop. They got to know their stuff. They got to know your products, company, the competition. They should be a good questioner and a good listener. They've got to be able to communicate your company and product messaging concisely and persuasively. And finally, they got to realize that it's about the next step, so they take good information and they get the visitor to commit to a next step. As far as working the show, make sure you've got somebody in your booth and available during every open hour and minute. Half of the battle of staying toe-to-toe is just looking like you want to. If you'll stand up, smile, and greet people as they get near your booth, you'll be amazed at how many stop. Okay, knowing what questions you need to ask, developing that short company story so you can position your company in the mind of the visitor, and getting that commitment, okay, and getting more information than just what's embedded in the badge. These are all keys to working the show. Leads, okay? Big thing on leads is the quality of a lead is equal to the clarity of the next step in the visitor's mind. What happens next, and did the visitor agree to take that next step? That's how you create a quality lead. CDS is doing something this year as a trial. Make sure you grab it. For the first time, you're going to be able to get a free lead retrieval system. This is a $375 value. It's free. Lisa, I did have a question earlier. Where do exhibitors go to get the free lead retrieval system?
Well, I will email them the form. They'll complete the form, and they'll get an emailed license sent to them. The lead retrieval office is right by exhibitor registration at McCormick Place, so it'll be very easy if they have any questions at all once they get to the show.
Okay, thank you. So make sure you get the system. Sec, follow up fast. Okay, today with electronic technology, the ability to capture the data, hit a button, and email a PDF, it's all in play or in line with their request. Okay, always link your follow-up back to the visitor's request. And here's the information you requested at CDS. And being able to personalize your follow-up about something they talked about during the conversation. Use multiple media when you follow up over time. Once you get a lead, you should stay in touch with it until they buy or they tell you they're never going to buy from you and leave them alone, right? But use email, use mail, use phone, use social media, in person if you can. And here's a big point. Don't wait till you get back from the meeting to think about what you're going to do with your leads. Determine and develop your follow-up plan before the show. You want to move fast, and you don't want any time. Number 8, measure. Okay, don't just count your costs. I know you're going to know what you spent. What I really want you counting is your results over time. Okay, and to do that, you're going to need a simple and a consistent set, if you do multiple shows, of performance metrics. So I'm going to share a few of these here quickly with you, and also encourage you to be sure to download the exercise on measuring performance and ROI. And the tool also. We've got an incredible tool on the website. So number 1, cost per lead. Okay, easy metric to run. Take your total show investment, in this case floor space times 3, divide it by the number of leads you captured. In this example, $105. You could also use that at cost per sale if you're writing orders at the show. So if you invested $10,500 in the show and you wrote 20 orders, you would see what your cost per sale was at the show. Same thing, cost per lead. Now you would compare it to the average cost of a trade show lead, which is $283. You would also compare your cost per lead to your average sale amount to make sure that you're not too far out of whack on that. Cost per interaction. Remember, we said you're buying face at trade shows. I think you should be measuring this. It's simple to measure. Take your total show investment, divide it by the number of face-to-face interactions in your exhibit, and you have your cost per interaction. In this example, if you invested $10,500 and you talked to 200 people during the show, your cost per interaction was $53. Is that high? Is it low? Well, the average cost of a field sales call is $596. That's ridiculously low. It's a great justification and measurement tool. Okay, then for those of you who aren't writing business at the show and maybe you have to hand off your leads to a dealer or distributor or rep, or convince a marketing manager or financial officer about the value, you could assess the value, potential revenue value of your leads. So let's say that you captured 40 leads at the show, and 10 of those were A leads. They were really good, perfect match leads. They've got money, they've got interest, they've got a need, and they have a quick buying cycle. And let's say your average sale amount was $5,000. In this example, you would have generated $50,000 of A-level revenue value for the company. When you divide that by your investment in the show of $10,500, look at this. You have a 5-to-1. $1 in generated $5 of A-level revenue value for your company. Now you just got to follow through and convert your leads to sales. The hard dollar return on investment down the line, 6 months, 9 months down the line. So let's say it's 6 months after the show and you can trace $45,000 back. First you back out your cost of sale. Now you have a gross margin. In this example, $45,000 minus a 50% cost of sale gave you a $22,000 gross. Now you back out your show investment and you've got a $12,000 net exhibit profit, when you go to the next slide, you see that dividing your net profit by your investment gave you a 114% hard dollar gross margin return on investment. $1 in, generate $1.14 in gross margin, real cash in the bank. That's ROI, okay? Next point, just make sure that as a new exhibitor, make sure that you really take in the entire event and learn from it. Try to bring enough people so you get a little time to get out and walk the exhibit hall and notice the exhibits that rock and look for ideas. If you can, get into the educational sessions. Definitely be where the buyers, be where the dentists are. What social events, what networking events. Don't just get your team together, have dinner, and everybody go to the hotel room and back to sleep. Be where the customers are. Put together a post-show report and grab the lessons. You should walk out of every show with 2 or 3 things you learned that you can do better at your next show. And just remember, success takes time. If you're committed, if you keep learning, if you keep applying, you will succeed. So we want to make sure that you are ready for a super positive, super productive experience. This meeting is hands down one of your most effective market opportunities if you do it properly. Nobody in the dental industry in North America does more for you as an exhibitor than the Chicago Dental Society, and this is evidence of it. Okay, you've got the resources, you've got the knowledge base, you've got the support, you've got the access. Be as successful as you want to be. That's the question. How successful do you want to be? So make sure you just use all the stuff, all these resources, and don't try to do them all at once. Chunk them down. Do them when they arrive. We're going to drop them right at the right time frames. Okay, and if you will, start to close this not by welcoming you to the Midwinter meeting, but wishing you a highly successful, a productive, a profitable event. And let me take a look in the question queue as we wind down. By the way, some of you may need to bounce. We're running a few minutes over. If you do, feel free to do so. Be sure to complete the survey. You'll get it in just a few moments. And then I'm going to take a look in the question queue. So let me see what we've got here. Lisa, question for you. Is there a cap on the purchase rebate for practices at your show?
The rebate coupons come in specific denominations, so those people who pre-register in November, it's $50, in December it's $35, and then it's $25 in January. And so it's a small amount of money, but we give over $375,000 each year in rebates back to the dentists who come to Midwinter Meeting and buy on the floor. And the reason we have the rebate, the redemption center at the show is to make it more valid so that they're not buying products from exhibitors but outside of the floor. The whole idea is to drive people to the floor and to buy on the floor.
Okay, thank you. I've got a question. I think it's in my wheelhouse. When you say follow up fast, how fast do you mean? Well, in a perfect world, I haven't had a chance to look at the lead retrieval system in detail yet that's being offered, but with many of them, you have the ability today to upload PDFs, and you have the ability right within the app to send a follow-up email. So that follow-up might mean right when you're standing with the visitor. Beyond that, it should be within 48 to 72 hours of the close of the show. So don't wait more than 2 or 3 days after the show. And beyond that, it should be in line with what the visitor requests. So let's say you're talking to a dentist, and let's say you sell practice design or remodeling services. And the dentist tells you that, we're probably not going to be in the zone for 6 months. You would definitely put them down for a 6-month follow-up. You would want some form of an immediate follow-up just to acknowledge and, hey, I met with you, you said you were interested, I'll follow up then. So I would follow up in line with the visitor's requested time also. But I would still have that, thank you for stopping, here's what we talked about, and I'll follow up next. All right, that's all I'm seeing for questions. We are out of time. Lisa, any closing comments from Chicago Dental Society?
Just want to reiterate again that if you have any questions or concerns once you start taking a look at the information on our website, please don't hesitate to contact me. I'm here to help you.
All right, thank you. And on behalf of everyone here at Competitive Edge, I want to thank all of you for being exhibitors, for investing time. Looking forward to working with you and guiding you through preparing, executing, and measuring a very successful exhibit program. So thanks for logging in. Enjoy the rest of your day. And this is not a beginning. This is not an end. This is a beginning. So we will see you again very soon. Thanks for logging in, everybody.